Let me start by saying this. No one ever teaches you how to wait. They only tell you that you should. Growing up, I heard whispers more than instructions. Warnings instead of explanations. Elders spoke about purity like it was glass, fragile, dangerous, something you could shatter by accident. But no one ever asked me how it felt to carry desire quietly in my body. My name is Eo. And for a long time, the village thought they knew my story. They said I was a virgin because I was shy. Because I was careful. Because maybe no one had chosen me yet. That last one always made me smile. Because the truth was simpler and heavier. I hadn't been chosen because I was the one choosing. I didn't feel empty. I felt full. So full, in fact, that I knew rushing would spill something I didn't yet understand. At night, when the village went quiet and even the gossip slept, I would walk to the edge of the forest. That place was older than rules. Older than shame. The elders said the forest remembered first things, first rains, first blood, first love. I think that's why I went there. I wasn't afraid of intimacy. I was afraid of giving it to the wrong silence. Then the traveler came. Not like the men who arrived with laughter and left with stories. He arrived softly, like something that had already been written into the day. The first thing I noticed wasn't his face. It was the way he waited. When people spoke, he listened. When eyes met his, he didn't hold them too long, didn't challenge or claim. He observed. And somehow, that felt more intimate than being stared at. When our eyes met for the first time, my body reacted before my mind did. A quiet awareness. A warmth beneath my ribs. Not urgency, recognition. That scared me more than attraction ever could. We didn't rush into conversation. Days passed. Sometimes weeks. Our connection grew sideways, like vines finding each other without planning to. He noticed small things. The way I hummed when I walked. The way I paused before speaking, as if tasting words first. The way I watched people instead of performing for them. The first time he mentioned my singing, I felt exposed. You sing when you think no one is listening, he said. I asked how he knew. He said, some sounds aren't meant to be hidden. That stayed with me. Because I realized then that he wasn't trying to uncover me. He was letting me be seen. At night, my body started to feel different to me. Not unfamiliar, present. I noticed my breath. The way my skin responded to memory. The way closeness could exist even without touch. I still hadn't crossed any physical line. But something inside me had already stepped forward. The night everything shifted, the moon was full, round and unapologetic. I found myself walking to the forest without deciding to. Like my feet knew something my mind was still catching up to. He was there. Not hiding. Not waiting dramatically. Just there. We stood apart at first. The air between us felt charged, heavy with everything we hadn't said. I wondered if this was what people meant when they talked about tension. Not discomfort, but awareness sharpened into something electric. He asked if I was afraid. I surprised myself with my honesty. I am, I said. But not of you. That was when he reached out. Slowly. Carefully. Like someone approaching something sacred. His fingers brushed my hand. That was it. No grasping. No pulling. Just contact. And my body responded like it had been holding its breath for years. Warmth spread through me, not rushed, not overwhelming, but deep. Like dawn creeping into darkness, gentle and unstoppable. I didn't move away. I didn't step closer. I stayed. And in staying, I learned that intimacy isn't about how far you go, it's about how present you are while you're there. We sat beside each other. My shoulder rested against his arm. I could feel his breath, steady and respectful. My entire body felt awake, humming quietly under my skin. I've never crossed this path, I told him. He didn't smile. Didn't comment. Didn't make it heavy. He said, "Then we stand where you're sure." That sentence changed me. Because in that moment, I realized my virginity wasn't something fragile I was protecting out of fear. It was something powerful I was holding by choice. When dawn came, nothing dramatic happened. No grand promises. No taking. Just understanding. And when he left days later, people expected me to mourn. But I didn't feel empty. I felt ready. Like a woman who had met her own desire and learned it wasn't dangerous. Just patient. After he left, life in the village returned to its familiar rhythm. Fires burned. Children laughed. Elders argued about rain and harvest as if nothing had shifted. But I had. Something inside me had been gently stirred, and now it refused to sleep again. I became more aware of myself, not in the way people describe vanity, but in a quieter, deeper way. I noticed how my body held warmth. How my thoughts lingered longer on certain moments. How memory alone could make my breath slow, then quicken. For the first time, I understood that desire didn't arrive suddenly. It had been growing with me all along. I returned to the forest often after that. Not because I expected to see him again, but because the forest had witnessed my awakening. It felt like the only place that understood what I was carrying. The elders used to say, when a woman reaches the edge of herself, the world listens. I didn't know if that was true. But one evening, as the sky softened into dusk, I felt it, that same awareness I had felt before. The sense of being met. He had returned. This time, I didn't feel surprised. I felt ready. We didn't speak at first. We didn't need to. The air between us already knew too much. I noticed the way he paused before stepping closer, giving me space to breathe, to decide. That mattered more than anything else. I realized then that waiting had never been about denying myself. It had been about meeting myself fully before inviting someone else in. I thought you might not come back, I said. I came because you were not finished, he replied. The words settled into me slowly. That night, when his hand found mine again, it stayed longer. Warmer. Not questioning, but still not demanding. I explained everything. How I had waited. How I had listened to myself. How this moment frightened me, not because of what I might lose, but because of how deeply I felt. He listened. When I finished, he said something I still carry with me. Nothing is taken from a woman who opens herself willingly. She only becomes more of what she already is. That was the night I chose. Not because the moon was right. Not because the moment was perfect. But because I was present. The forest wrapped around us like a witness. Every movement was slow, intentional, reverent. He touched me as though learning a language, not claiming a prize. And with each breath, I felt myself soften, not disappear, but expand. I won't describe the details. They belong to me. But I will say this. I did not feel pain. I did not feel fear. I felt arrival. When it was done, I rested against him, listening to the quiet of my own body. I didn't feel less innocent. I felt initiated. Morning came gently. The kind of morning that doesn't rush you out of yourself. When I returned to the village, the world looked the same, but I didn't. I walked differently. Not because something had been taken from me, but because something had settled into place. The women noticed first. They always do. They said I moved like someone who had learned a secret. Like someone whose silence was no longer empty. The elders didn't ask questions. They simply nodded when I passed, as though recognizing a truth they had always known. The traveler left again, as travelers do. But this time, I understood that some people are not meant to stay. Some are meant to open doors. Years later, when young girls sit beside me and ask about waiting, I don't warn them. I tell them this instead. Your body is not a thing to be guarded out of fear. Your virginity is not a burden or a price. It is a threshold. Cross it when you are present. Cross it when you are ready. Cross it when you feel whole, not when you feel pressured. Because nothing sacred is ever lost. It is transformed. And that is why they say the sun still rises warmly over our village. Because once, a woman carried dawn within her. And taught the world how to wait.